His divine grace is Yes, Kam Pacharya Shiva Bhavati Jai Patita Pavana Seva Pavan So Shiva Bhavati Jai Jayam Vishnuvan Paramahamsa Patipajakacharan Jahasta Taravada Shiva His divine grace Shiva Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Bhavati Jai Anantakori Vaishnava Niki Jai Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Padam Sukho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Kavi Kavidas Shama Kundara Kundari Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samavekta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaura Premananda
Hari Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi, Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestha today. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravanda Pacharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prashchajade Shukarani. So which text today? 35, 36?
36.
36. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14, Ideal Family Life, text number 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Jiva Rashibi Akirna Andakosha Angripa Mahan Tat Mula Tat Achyuta Ija Sarva Jiva Atma Tarpanam Jiva Vashabir Akirna Andakosham Tripo Maha Tamulat Vanda Chuteja Sarvajivatma Tarpanam Jiva Rashivir Akirna Andakosham Tripo Maha Mulat Vanda Chuteja Sarvajivatma Tarpanam.
Akirna
Jivarashi Akirna
Andako Sankripo Mahan
Andako Sankripo Mahan
Tanmulat Vat Achuteya
Tanmulat Vat Achuteya
Sarva Jivat Matarvanam
Sarva Jivat Matarvanam Jivarashi Akirna Andako Sankripo Mahan Tanmulat Vat Achuteya Sarva Jivat Matarvanam
Jivarashi Akirna
Jivarashi Akirna
Andako Sankripo Mahan
Andako Sankripo Mahan
Tanmulat Vat Achuteya
Tanmulat Vat Achuteya
Sarva Jivat Matarvanam
Sarva Jivat Matarvanam.
Ladies,
Jivarashi Akirna
Jivarashi Akirna
Andako Sankripo Mahan
Andako Sankripo Mahan
Tanmulat Vat Achuteya
Tanmulat Vat Achuteya
Sarva Jivat Matarvanam
Sarva Jivat Matarvanam Jivarashi Akirna Andako Sankripo Mahan Tanmulat Vat Achuteya Sarva Jivat Matarvanam
Jivarashi by millions and millions of living entities.
by millions and millions of living entities.
Akirna, filled up, are spread over. Andakosha, the whole universe. Amkripa, like a tree. Mahan, very, very great. Tatmulatvat, because of being the root of this tree. Achucha Ija, worship of the Supreme Personality of God. Sarva, of all. Jiva Atma, living entity. Tarpanam, satisfaction. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The entire universe, which is full of living entities, is like a tree whose root is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Achyuta, Krishna. Therefore, simply by worshipping Lord Krishna, one can worship all living entities. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 10.8, the Lord says, Aham savashakavavo atok sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. People are very much anxious to give service to other living entities, especially the poor, but although they have manufactured many ways to give such help, actually they are very expert in killing the poor living entities. This sort of service or mercy is not recommended in the Vedic wisdom. As stated in the previous verse, it has been decided in the Ruptam by expert saintly persons that Krishna is the root of everything and that worshipping Krishna is worshipping everyone. Thus, supplying water to the root of a tree means satisfying all of its branches and twigs. Another point is that this universe is full of living entities from top to bottom. On every planet, Jiva Rashi Akirna. Modern scientists and so-called scholars think that there are no living entities on planets other than this one. Recently, they have said that they have gone to the moon, but did not find any living entities there. But Srimad Bhagavatam and the other Vedic literatures do not agree with this foolish conception. There are living entities everywhere, not only one or two, but Jiva Rashi B, many millions of living entities. Even on the sun there are living entities, although it is a fiery planet. The chief living entity in the sun is called Vivishvam. Imam Gavashkate Yogam Proktavanaham Abhyayam. All the different planets are filled with different types of living entities according to different living conditions. To suggest that only this planet is filled with living entities and that others are vacant is foolish. This betrays a lack of real knowledge. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Bhagavatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Pranijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Cha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatmane Shatarine. So, you cut a branch off the tree, what happens to the branch? It dies. As long as the branch is attached to the tree, it flourishes. So do you know why you're in so much difficulty at the present moment in this material world? Do you know why you're in so much difficulty? Because you're attached to the tree. That's the difficulty. No matter what you may do to try to become happy and satisfied in this material world, in every attempt you're a failure. Even if you become Lord Brahma, the chief demigod of the whole material universe in which we're living right now, even to that point, you will still remain a failure. Unless and until you reconnect yourself with the tree, Krishna, God. And as soon as you connect with Krishna, it doesn't matter what your situation is. You can be Brahma, you can be Indra, you can be Indragopa, a tiny germ. It doesn't matter what your position is. As soon as you reconnect with Krishna or God, then you become completely satisfied, completely happy. You become totally, absolutely ecstatic. Because that is the nature of the living entity when he's properly connected with God. God is described by Lord Brahma Satchidananda Vigraha. He has an eternal form full of bliss and knowledge. So you are actually qualitatively one with God. This means you also have an eternal form which is full of bliss and knowledge. This present material body you have is not that form. You see? This present material body is temporary and full of ignorance and misery. Your present material body. Therefore, the intelligent person, his first lesson is, I'm not this body. His first lesson is, I am not this body. I am instead the spirit soul. I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul. So that's called spiritual awakening. And this is what is taught to you by the bona fide spiritual master, how you can become spiritually awakened and get therefore free from the nightmarish condition called bodily consciousness. Right now we're sleeping in a nightmare condition. I'm thinking I'm male, I'm female, I'm Indian, I'm American, I'm Danish, etc. This is a nightmare. We're living in a nightmare. Because actually the soul is eternal. He never gets old, he never gets sick, and he never dies. So to think I'm this body is a hellish condition. It's a psychological trap. So the spiritual master is very kind. Srila Prabhupada is very kind to us. He pulls us out of this illusion. He dispels the confusion and the anxiety and the worries that torment us like anything. He brings us back to our original consciousness. Jivara Sarupaya Krishnara Nichadas. the constitutional position of a living entity of the eternal servant of Krishna. Does this bang happen right here? Death can come at any time. We didn't expect there to be a bang in the middle of the lecture, but there was. We didn't expect that we would leave our body. It's at some particular moment that boom, it happened. So one has to always be prepared. And how do you be prepared? You have to remember Krishna. You have to remember you're his servant. You have to remember you're not your body. You have to remember you're that eternal spiritual being. And then when death comes, no problem, you move on to the next higher platform, to the spiritual platform. Now you on the material platform, you see, birth after birth after birth, you've been dragged through the karma chakra, the wheel of birth and death, the wheel of action and reaction. You've been dragged from body to body to body to body, trying to enjoy in so many artificial ways based on this combination of the senses with the sense objects. That doesn't work. You can't be satisfied by sticking your shirt sleeve in a cup of sweetness. Because it's not you. You can't be satisfied by gratifying your bodily senses because it's not really you, it's just a covering. This garment is not me. If I stick it in a bowl of sweet rice, you see, it's not going to satisfy me. So whether you have sex, or whether you try to gratify your tongue, whether you gratify your false ego, which is subtle like the underwear, you see. Your false ego, the mind intelligence and false ego, another time, just like I have a t-shirt under here, see? That's the undershirt. So whether you try to satisfy your outer shirt, the gross body, or the undershirt, in either case you're not satisfying yourself. So intellectual satisfaction, ego satisfaction, mental satisfaction, and gross physical satisfaction, none of these actually satisfy the self, because the self has nothing to do with the body, with the mind, the intelligence, or the ego, false ego. The real self is the spiritual self within, who is an eternal spiritual particle, qualitatively one with the Supreme Person. So we have to hear repeatedly from the bona fide spiritual master, because we're so conditioned and we live in a world society which constantly reinforces the false conception that I am this body. That's why we need the association of a bona fide spiritual master and Vaishnavas, because the Guru and Vaishnavas, they understand that we are not these bodies, we're eternal spiritual beings, we're servants of God, and they engage us in the service of Krishna and God. There's one thing to theoretically understand these things. There's another thing to realize it. Somebody just wrote me, they said, well, we know we're not the body. We know at the time of death the spirit soul goes somewhere else. So why are we so affected when a friend or relative dies? Why are we so emotionally devastated when we know it's not really them? They didn't really die, they just went somewhere else. Why are we so devastated by that? The student was asking me. The answer is there's theoretical, and there's the theoretical platform, and there's the realization platform, Gyan and Vigyan. I can theoretically understand, okay, I'm not this body, but do I feel that I'm not my body? Mm-hmm. When some distress comes, do I think, oh, it's only out there, it's only happening out there in the material energy? Or I think, oh no, now I have an earache. Oh. Is it? You can say I'm not the body, but when some body distress comes, what is your feeling? Oh no, now I am sick. Is it? Immediately, even though I theoretically know I'm not the body, as soon as I get sick, I think, no, I am sick. I have a cold. I have laryngitis, or whatever it may be. I'm thinking I have it. Even though I know it's not me, still I think it's me. That means I haven't realized yet. I've theoretically understood, but I haven't actually realized it yet. So we have to go from the platform of Gyan, which is theoretical understanding, to the platform of Vigyan, which is actually realization. And when anxiety comes, it doesn't touch you. It's just something happening out there in the material energy. I remember reading in Prabhupada's books how a devotee on the highest level He doesn't even know when he left his body. In other words, within his heart he's actually participating in Krishna's eternal pastimes. And his body is something out there in the material energy. He doesn't even know, he doesn't even realize that he left his body. Oh, I died a few weeks ago, I didn't know it. Just found out, I just realized I died 3 weeks ago. You see, because in his heart he's actually already participating in Krishna's pastimes. Oh, that mortal frame I left behind 3 weeks ago, you see. So this is where we want to come. That platform of the body is just something out there in the material nature. It has nothing to do with me. It's just something I'm using for Krishna, that's all. So my happiness is not based on bodily pleasure. Bodily pleasure actually is the cause of my great distress. Being attached to bodily pleasure is the cause of my distress. So don't go after bodily pleasure, illicit sex, meeting, intoxication, and gambling. Go, but you need pleasure, don't you? You want to go into a state of limbo where there's no pleasure? No, of course not. That's what the Maya body suggests, that it's artificial, it doesn't work. What you have to do is go to a higher platform of pleasure. Radharani has given us a very nice lesson. He says, Manamara Vamadina Jama Vina Mina Mina Krishna Vina Channe Maniyaya Madhura Harshavanani Mana Netra Gasanani Krishna Krishna Viguna Vadaya. If I do not think of Krishna, my impoverished mind dies immediately like a fish out of water. But when I see Krishna's sweetly smiling face, my mind and my eyes are so pleased that my attraction, my thirst for Krishna, my Krishna, my thirst for Krishna immediately doubles, you see. So we have to come to this platform, you see, taught to us by our beloved mother, Srimati Radharani. That even for a moment I forget Krishna. It's like being drowned in an ocean of distress. But as soon as we think, oh, Krishna, we get so much pleasure, so much ecstasy just by remembering Krishna. The name becomes, every time I say Krishna, it becomes twice as attractive to my brain. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. You see? Ever increasing attraction. At every step, the attraction doubles. So can you imagine how attracted Radharani is to Krishna? Every time she sees him, her thirst for Krishna doubles. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Let's say she has 1 unit of attraction. She looks at him once, now she has 2 units. She looks at him again, she's got 4 units. She looks at him again, she's got 8, and she's got 16, she got 30, 32, and 64, and 120. How many times she's looked at Krishna in the vast span of eternity? How many units of attraction she have going in her heart? You can imagine, we can't even imagine how attracted she is to Krishna. We have to follow her path. Radharani is teaching us the path of attraction to Krishna. That's why, first of all, we address her. Hooray!